Okay, hello once again. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you're watching from. How have your day been? Emmanuel here, back with the Constitution of the Republic of Uganda, 1995 as amended. So we are still on Chapter 7, the Executive, the President, and Article 105. That's where we stopped yesterday, if you are with me. The tenure of the office of the President. Tenure means like the holding, like how if you are in if you are in any office. Okay, a person elected president under this constitution shall be subjected to clause 3 of this article, hold office under a term of under different terms. You know, before it was term of 5 years, but then it was amended recently, and you know, term limits were removed, so everyone is allowed to rule to become president until any term he or she wants. A person shall not be elected under this constitution to hold office as the president for more than 2 terms as prescribed by this article. So this was amended, remember, and they were decided anyone can rule any terms he or she wants. The office of president shall become vacant on the expiration of periodic specifications in this article. Before it was amended, if the incumbent dies or resigns or ceases to hold office under Article 107 of this Constitution, the President may, by writing signed by him or her and addressed to the Chief Justice, resign from the office of the President. In case something happens, like the President wants to resign, he will resign and write to the Chief Justice. Just in case omukulembeze bw'aba ayagala kukola ki? Sorry, badde study mu Buganda. So nga bwe tulabye edda nga constitution nga tebanagikwatamu, omukulembeze yali akkirizibwa okufuga ekisanja kya myaka 5 aveeko. Myaka 5 sikyo? Myaka 5 like bisanja 2. Naye kati baabijjako ebisanja, buli omu afuga ebisanja by'ayagala. As long as people still need you, abantu nga bakyakwetaaga, nga bakyakukubira akalulu, osobola okufuga ebbanga lyonna ebisanja baabijjako. So wano batugamba nti omukulembeze bw'aba ayagala resigninga oba bwafa oba something bwe kibaawo, alina okuresigninga n'asindika ekibaluwa ewa Chief Justice. Okay. Chief Justice shall immediately, upon receiving the resignation of the President under this article, notify the Vice President, the Speaker, and the Electoral Commission of the resignation. President wa resigninga wagamba nze mbulekulidde obwa President, n'awandikira Chief Justice. Buvunaanyizibwa bwa Chief Justice okukwata n'agamba Vice President, n'agamba Speaker of Parliament, n'agamba n'akakiiko k'ebyokulonda ne batandika okuteekateeka n'okutunula mu resignation ya President. Okay. Article 106. Article 106. One second. Terms and condition of service of the President. The President shall be paid a salary and allowance and afforded such other benefits as Parliament shall prescribe. President bajja musasula omusaala, bamutereko n'ebigenderako nga allowance, mafuta, medical, obujjanjabi biki, nga Parliament bwebeekoze ki, bwebeesazeewo. Parliament shall by law make provision for the grant of benefits for a President who ceases to hold office otherwise than by being removed under Article 107(1)(a) or (b) of this Constitution. Parliament erina okuteekawo amateeka kw'ebintu oba emisaala oba allowances, motoka, mafuta, dwaliro, biki, school lunch, State House, byonna bwe bagenda okukola ki, okubeera nga bawa omukulembeze anaabeerawo obudde obwo according to this article 107(a) and (b). The salary, allowance and other benefits granted to the President under this article shall be charged on the Consolidation Fund. Jukira Consolidation Fund gye nabagamba bwe tusasula emisolo, account gyegendako eyo Consolidation Fund. So allowances n'emisaala gyonna gigenda beera nga giva ku consolidation fund ku misolo gye tuwa, so which means ffe abasasula president. Buli musolo gwowa omanyi nti oba oteekako amafuta mu motoka yani ya president. The president shall not hold any other public office other than those conferred with the constitution or any office of profit emolument like the compromise of office of the president. Obeera president tokkirizibwa kubeera ne office endala. Office ya president other than office eziri mu bukiiko obwo obwa president. Tokkirizibwa yadde okubeera ne office endala. Okay. The salary, allowances and other benefits granted to the president under this article shall not be varied to the disadvantage of president while he or she holds office. The salary, allowance and other benefits granted under this article shall not be valid to the disadvantage of the president while he or she holds office. Emisaala ebiki byonna bino kugendera ku mukulembeze ng'ali mu buyinza. Bw'atabeera mu buyinza ebyo it will not be valid. The retirement benefits granted to a president under this article shall not be valid to the disadvantage of the president. Benefits oba mu Luganda bakyogera batya? Benefits byafunamu like okay. Retirement benefits, kale olinga mazenga akoze nga retirinze byonna ebiba bigenda omuweebwa byonna byaba agenda ofunamu manyiko retiringa balina bye bakuwa tebigenda gendera mbuwa president yakola kibi kino so tekyabimuwa. No, that shall not vary. If has retired oba yakola ki, those retirement benefits shall be under his under his advantages, not disadvantages. Okay. Then Article 107, removal of the president. 1. The president may be removed from office in accordance with this article on any of the following grounds. Okay. Abuse of office or willful violation of oath of allegiance and the presidential oath or any provision of the constitution. Bw'avumaganya entebe y'obwa president oba n'avuluga okulayira kwe yalayira. So constitution ekkirizibwa okukola ki? Okumuggyako. Misconduct or misbehavior that he or she has conducted himself or herself in a manner which brings or is likely to bring the office of the president into hatred, ridiculous contempt and disrepute. President bwe yeeyisa mu mpisa erabisa entebe ya president oba ekifo ky'obwa president ekyo kisobola omugisa mu biyinza, that he or she has dishonestly done an act or omission which is prejudicial or inimical to the economy or security of Uganda. Nga ba president aba bagenda wakula entalo, you know, if anything president bwakola ekintu kyonna nga kitaataaganya security y'eggwanga oba empisa z'eggwanga oba anything that doesn't match is eligible to be removed from the office of the president. Or C, physical or mental incapacity, namely that he or she is incapable of performing the functions of his or her office by reason of physical or mental incapability. Bw'abanga takyasobola kulowooza oba mulwadde oba afunye ebirwadde bitakyamukkiriza kukola mirimu gy'obukulembeze, then awo aba asobola okuggibwako ku ntebe either he wants or no. This is according to the constitution. Physical or mental incapability, obutasobola mu mubiri n'obutasobola mu bwonko kisobola omuggisaako. Yeah, got it right. Okay. For the purpose of removal of the president under clause 1A or B of this article, a notice in writing signed by not less than 1/3 of all the members of parliament shall be submitted to the speaker. Ba member of parliament ebitundu 1/3 1/3 of all members kibuku bisatu ebyaba member ba parliament bwe bisayininga ku petition ebiwandikira speaker ne bigamba president takyasobola leka tumuggyeko, then awo balina okuwandika petition ne bagisindika wa speaker stating that they intend to move a motion for a resolution in parliament for the remove the president on the charge that the president has willfully abused his or her office or willfully violated the oath of allegiance and presidential oath or any other provision of this constitution in terms of clause 1A of this article, or 2, misconduct himself or herself or misbehave in terms of clause 1 of this article. And so wano balimu kugamba ababaka ba parliament abitundu kimu ku bisatu, 1/3, right? Bwe balaba nti president engeri gye yayisaamu sinungi oba engeri gye yayisaamu teweesa kitiibwa awakulakula ntalo ayagala kuteeka eggwanga wansi, balina okuwandikira speaker then ne bafuna resolution about that. So B, setting out the particulars of the charge supported by the necessary document on which it is claimed that the conduct of the president be investigated for the purpose of his or her removal. So balina okuwandikira speaker ne bagamba bibino to present nze empapula ne baziteeka ku mmeeza, then bekikwatako ne batandika onoonyereza ku mukulembeze. The speaker shall within 24 hours after receipt of the notice referred to in clause 2 of this article cause a copy to be transferred to the president and the chief justice. Speaker bwe bamuwa ekipapula ekyo within essaawa 24 alina okufunamu copy n'asindikira chief justice n'agisindikira ne president ye kennyini bwe baagala okuggyako. Okay. The Chief Justice shall, within the 7 days after receipt of the notice transmitted under Clause 3 of this article, constitute a tribunal comprising 3 justices of the Supreme Court to investigate the allegation in the notice and to report its finding to Parliament, stating whether or not there is a prima facie case for the removal of the President. Speaker ye kennyini ajja kuwandikira within nakumeka. Within 7 days, Speaker Chief Justice bwe bamusindikira kope kuva ewa Speaker, then Chief Justice within naku 7 wiiki emu ajja kuwandiikira Supreme Court ekole okunoonyereza oba President byewoogera bituufu tumuggyeko oba nedda. Okay. The President is entitled to appear at the proceeding of the tribunal and to be represented there by a lawyer or other expert or person of his or her choice. Then bwe kituukako president alina okutuukayo oba mu Supreme Court gye bamuwaabidde ng'alina lawyer oba ng'alina omuntu gw'asobola okwesiga anaamuwolereza. If the tribunal determines that there is a prima facie case of the removal of the president under clause 1A or B of this article, then if Parliament passes the resolution supported by the votes of not less than 2/3 of all members of Parliament, the President shall cease to hold office. Tribunal we musinga ng'abaka ba Parliament basukka nga bwe basanzeewo, then President alina okusaddaaka office n'agiwaayo. For the purpose of the removal of the President on grounds of physical or mental incapacity under clause 1 of this article, there shall be submitted to the Speaker a notice in writing signed by not less than 1/3 of all members. Then ne ababaka ba Parliament ebitundu kimu ku bisatu oba weekitewe bakyogera simanyi 1/3 kimu ku bisatu. If not, correct me, write it in the comment section, then I will know. 1/3 ababaka ba Parliament baba baloopa like he's not mentally or like physically stable, then just kisindikira Speaker stating that they intend to move a motion of resolution to Parliament for the removal of the President from office on grounds of physical or mental incapacity and giving particulars of the alleged incapacities. Balina owandiika nga bataddemu biki byennyini specifics. Agamba President yafunye ekirwadde, tagenda mmalako, takyasobola kufuga, so twadde tusaba nfe ng'ababaka ba palamenti ebitundu 1/3. Speaker ne tukuwandiikira, Speaker naye n'awandiikira kopi wa Chief Justice ne President ye kennyini. Chief Justice nawe omusango n'atwala mu kooti, then kooti n'eyita President n'ajja ne lawyer ne batandika obuloza bamusinga ng'agenda, bwasinga ng'asigala. Okay, let's continue under this physical or mental incapability. So, the Speaker shall within 24 hours after receipt of the notice under clause 7 of this article cause a copy to be transferred to the President and the Chief Justice. Okay. The Chief Justice shall within 7 days after reception of the notice transmitted under clause 8 of this article and the consultation with the professional head of the medical service in Uganda constitute a medical board comprising 5 qualified and eminent medical specialists to examine the President in respect of the alleged incapacity and to report its finding to Parliament. Then, Speaker bw'amala okuwandiikira Chief Justice ne President, Chief Justice ajja kunoonya abasawo abo 5 abali very well qualified batwale omukulembeze bamwekebejje balabe, then result bazitwale mu the findings bazitwale mu Parliament. The Chief Justice shall within 24 hours after consisting of medical board inform the President accordingly, and the President shall submit himself or herself to the medical board for examination within 7 days. Within week age mu President ajja kuba ng'akoze eki ng'avuddeyo nga bamutute mu ddwaliro nga bamukebedde without any resistance. If the medical board, after the expiration of the period of 7 days referred to in clause 10 of this article, report that the President has failed or refused to submit the medical board in accordance with that clause, and Parliament passes the resolution for the removal of the President supported by the votes of not less than 2/3 of all the members of Parliament, the President shall cease to hold office. President bw'agaana mbuze sikyagendayo kunkebera, ekiteeso ne kigenda mu maaso, ababaka from 1/3 now to 2/3, ababaka ebitundu 2/3 ebya Parliament ne bimugira ne bimuruling out, then the President shall cease to hold the office. Okay. The motion for the resolution for the removal of the President shall be moved in Parliament within 14 days after the receipt of the Speaker of the report of the Tribunal or Medical Board. The President is entitled to appear in person and be heard and to be assisted or represented by a lawyer or other expert of a person of his or her choice during the proceedings of Parliament relating to the motion of the resolution of this article. President ye kennyini ajja kubaayo alina okubeerayo mu court mu Parliament, either general ya oba general omuntu gw'asobola okwesiga nga bamuggyako obuyinza. So Parliament ekkirizibwa obumwambula. Okay. So that was about the President. That's how it ended. So President bw'oba mwagala muggyako because of ebikolwa bye ebibi, 1/3 of the Parliament should write to the kimu kyakusatu ekya Parliament bajja kuwandiikira Speaker, then Speaker afunemu copy agiwandiikire Chief Justice ne President kennyini. Bwe muba mumuloopa lwa mpisa mbi, then Chief Justice ajja kuwandiikira Supreme Court. President bamutwale mu kooti ajje naani ajje ne lawyer we gwe yeesiga. Okay, amufunye bulungi. Then bwe kibanga ekitundu kimu bwe mumusinga, then nga bamuggyako office y'obwa President. Then bwe muba mumuwaabira lwa nsonga ya due to medical problems or physical problems and mental problems, bajja kuleeta abasawo 5 bamukebere, ebazuule bamusanga nga si mutuufu bamuggyeko office. Ate ezo findings balina ozidza mu Parliament. Chief Justice yalina okujja ne 5 abasawo 5 and the medical board ne bamukebera. Then president bw'agaana omukebera, chief justice ajja kutwala nankani bamuyite mu parliament, ajje lawyer we bamubuuze lwaki agaanye okujja bamukebere. Then naye the number of votes now will be from 1/3 to 2/3 of the parliament. Era mwabagamba nti president akyalemeddeko naye era mukyasobola omuggyako. Asobola omuwaabira bwemuba mwesiga nti byakoze bikyamu. Eggwanga bwemuba mulaba nti eggwanga litabudde, muwandikire speaker, wandikire chief justice, tumutwale mu kooti, Supreme Court, not International Criminal Court. Okay, Article 107, Vice President. There shall be a Vice President of Uganda. Vice President waffe Jessica Alupo, right? The President shall, with the approval of Parliament, by a simple majority, appoint a Vice President. President yagenda okufuna Vice President ani agenda omuddirira mu bigere waatali. But with the approval of the Parliament and simple majority, abantu, excuse me. The Vice President shall deputize for the President as and when the need arises. Ajja kukola nga deputy wa President, ajja kukola nga ki nga amuddirira bw'oba waawe ekyetaagisa, and perform such other functions as may be assigned to him or her by the President or as may be conferred on him or her by the Constitution. Ajja kukola emirimu eraba emuweerebwa by President over nga Constitution weeba emulagira. 4. The qualifications prescribed for the office of the President by Article 102 of the Constitution shall apply to the office of the Vice President. Buli kimu ekyetaagisa, kale ebyetaagisa ku President bye bimu ebirina okwetaagisibwa ku Vice President nga bwe twabirabye waggulu eyo. Okay. The office of the President shall become vacant if the appointment is revoked by the President or the incumbent resigns or dies. So office ya Vice President ejja kubeera vacant nga terimu kirimu. President bw'alivokinga n'agaana okuappointinga oba gwe appointinze ng'akoze ki ng'afudde. With the expectation of clause 2 of the Article 106 of this Constitution shall, subject to this Constitution, apply to the Vice President. Nga bwe tulabye President bw'afa, nga bwe twalaba waggulu President bw'afa, agenda omuddirira agenda abeera Speaker, then Chief Justice batereeza akalulu ne Electoral Commission banoonye agenda omuddirira kyekimu ne Vice President. Where the office of Vice President becomes vacant, the President shall, with the approval of Parliament, as soon as possible, but in any case not later than 14 days, appoint a person qualified to hold the office of the President. Office eyo webeera vacant either food or something else, oba bamugobye, within 14 days, President, with the approval of Parliament, is allowed to appoint for a new Vice President. The Vice President shall become commencing to perform the functions of Vice President, take and subscribe the oath of alliance and the oath of Vice President specified in the 4th schedule of this Constitution. Gwe balonze oba Vice President alina okutuula mu office ye after taking an oath, after swearing, I blah 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 blah, solemnly blah blah blah, swear blah blah blah, that I will blah blah blah. Okay. So that is Vice President. So almost Vice President, same things with the President, the proceedings, but his orders, his rules, his or her laws will be mostly directed by the President himself. Okay. Absence of the President. president waba taliiwo. If the president dies, resigns, or is removed from office under this constitution, the vice president shall assume the office of the president until fresh elections are held, and the elected president assumes office in accordance with Article 103 of this constitution. President bw'afa oba bw'aresigninga oba bw'amuggyako mu ntebe according to the constitution, vice president ajja tuula mu ntebe y'obwa president until akalulu akapya bwe bakalonda. Elections for the president under this article shall be held within 6 months after the death, resignation, or removal of the president. Akalulu kagenda kubibwa mu myezi 6. President bw'afa wabwabwe bamuggyako baki akalulu kalina okukubibwa within emyezi 6. Boom! Oba olina okuba omaze okwetooloola eggwanga lyonna ng'okungaanya akalulu. No election shall be held under this article if the residue term of the president is 1 year or less. Whenever the president is for any reason unable to perform the functions of the office of the president, the vice president shall perform those functions until the president is able again and perform those functions. President waba tasobola running office y'obwa president within that period of time, vice president akkirizibwa yalina okutwala office eyo n'abeera ng'afuga until the president bw'akomawo n'agamba, now I'm strong, I am able to take office. Thank you so much for your help. Okay. Just 1 moment. Okay. Where the president and the vice president are both unable to perform the function of the office of the president, the speaker shall perform those functions until the president or the vice president is able to perform those functions, or until a new president assumes office. Vice president wabeera tali bulungi oba ne president katugambe badde bali mu kakiiko omwe alina abakubako bbomu, so speaker wa parliament yalina okutwala obuyinza until balonze president omupya. The vice president shall become assuming the duties of the office of the president under clause 1 of this article, appoint a person to the office of the vice president subject to approval of parliament. Vice president wabeera mu ntebe ya president obudde obwo naye alina okuappointingayo omuntu omulala n'atuula mu bigere bye nga vice president. Okay. A person appointed under clause 6 of this article shall before assuming the duties of the office of vice president take and subscribe the oath in respect of that office under article 108(7) of this constitution. Oyo vice president gw'aba alonze okudda mu bigere bye nga aze mu bigere bya president nga talina kyakozeewo, alina okusooka n'akola ki? Takinga oath n'alayira. I don't know, simanyi lwaki okulayira people take it so this constitution take it so serious, but we shall find out also. Before assuming the duties of the assuming the person under clause this of the article, the speaker shall take and subscribe the oath specified in the relation to that office in the 4th schedule to this constitution. Nga bwe twalabye wali president ne vice president babeera tebaliwo, speaker yaddira mu bigere bya president naye alina osooka okulayira. Whenever the speaker assumes the office of the president as a result of the death, resignation, or removal of the president and the vice president, or under the provision of Article 1(4) of this constitution, the presidential election shall be held in accordance with clause 2 of this article. Clause 2 ebadde egamba it shall be held under 6 months. So speaker naye bw'abeera mu ntebe nga waliwo ekyababaddeko, so within 6 months baba balina okukuba akalulu respectively. Okay, that was the absence of the president, vice president, and the president at large. N'okumuggyako So next time we shall begin from state of emergency. State of emergency. Nga waliwo emergency etuuseewo. So that's where we shall begin. Thank you so much for watching. See you next time. Bye. Love you all.